Howdy, gang, and welcome to the return of Landis Confidential. I feel like it's been forever. One moment. uh, X-Ray, let me get back to what you put there. I had Steve some barbecue chicken cooking, so I'm going to go turn off the oven and I will be right back. Okay, X-Ray, I'll read your comment there. You say Lannis was pretty good until he turned into a homicidal maniac. Never watched Spies Like Us. Well, I'm not going to argue with anybody about whether Landis is a homicidal maniac or not. I think we all have differing opinions on that. And I feel like I've talked about how I feel about the whole, you know, Twilight Zone tragedy. Um, so I won't reiterate my feelings on it, and everybody else is welcome to have their feelings on it, about how they feel about Landis. But I am going to talk about Spies Like Us here in a second, and I'll try not to give everything away, X-Ray, in case you do decide that maybe you would like to watch it. Steve's saying, "Oh my!" I don't know if it's because I got my hair down or what. Thank you, X-Ray, about the hair. I did get it. I mean, it is jet black now, and I was getting, it done so I would feel a little bit better before Horror Hound weekend. But thank you for saying that you love what I did with my hair. Uh, I think Steve likes it, but he said it was a little weird. If you may have not noticed, or you may have noticed, it's probably going to take a couple more washes before this hair dye gets off of my skin. Because it tends to adhere to your scalp and your skin a little bit, and the hairdresser always tries to get what um, they can off of your skin before you leave the salon. But sometimes some of it just wants to stick around. Winter chicken dinner. I mean lunch. Oh, okay. Yeah, I decided to have my hair down tonight for this edition of Landis Confidential, and also I had it down last night when I did a pre-recorded video for the final countdown to Horror Hound weekend. There should be a road to Horror Hound weekend coming up with me and Candace, because we didn't get to do a Friday Foolish. There was a lot of stuff going on with both of us, and we didn't quite get to do it, and it kind of, the busyness kind of spilled over into the weekend. Therefore, we did not get to do anything over the weekend. Now, this is not going to be a Friday Foolish. It's probably going to take place in the middle of the week, about Wednesday. And me and Candace have not decided. I've got to finish listening to a message from her after I get off of here for the night. And sorry about that message on Facebook. Um, about whether we're going to do it pre-recorded or live. Um, I have not, X-Ray, I haven't seen Beetlejuice Part 2 yet. But you're going to see it this weekend. I'd be curious to see if I've seen some people that really liked it. Some people that just, I hadn't seen anybody that absolutely hated it yet. There were some people that said, it was meh, Michael Keaton was basically the only good thing about it, was what some people were saying. But so tomorrow night I am planning on having a pre-recorded Everybody Wants England. Yes, I am still going through the movies for Everybody Wants England. I mean, I didn't realize how many movies that Robert Englund was actually in. And I had originally wanted to have this completed by Horror Hound Weekend, where Robert Englund's going to be the guest of honor, but I don't think I'm going to quite make it. Um, you heard of mixed bag X-ray? Yeah, that's kind of what I had seen, as far as people making comments and stuff. But the good thing is I didn't see people really giving things away. And that's something that I'm like, you know, be respectful of the people that haven't seen it and don't give everything away. I think sometimes people get a buzz from giving away, giving away things about movies. But I try not to do that. So what else have I got coming up this week? Well, the big thing is Horror Hound Weekend, which me and Steve will be making our way to Horror Hound Weekend this Saturday. We're really, really, really looking forward to um, going. Well, I'm looking forward to going. I don't know if Steve's looking forward to going so much or not. Well, we are planning on doing a Highway to Hell, going to Horror Hound. We're going to film as much as we can at Horror Hound Weekend, and then on our way home, we will give our final um, consensus on the convention. Um, but I was originally going to cover Spies Like Us, Three Amigos, and Amazon Women on the Moon. However, I had to get a copy elsewhere of Amazon Women on the Moon, so I decided to save it for next week. But Everybody Wants England will be tomorrow night. I'll be talking about Zombie Mutation, Sanitarium, and The Last Showing. Wednesday, tentatively, me and Candace will be doing a Wednesday Foolish, I guess, or Wednesday Wacky, maybe we'll call it. Doing the Road to Horror Hound Weekend. Thursday will be the premiere or the debut of Kubrick Among Us, my retrospective on Stanley Kubrick films. And I will be talking about Fear and Desire, Killer's Kiss, and The Killing. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do a Terror Time tea on Friday. I'm currently trying to get off on Friday, so I'll have a little bit extra time to prepare for Horror Hound Weekend. But anyway, let's go ahead and get to these couple of movies. I'll probably go through them pretty quickly and give my review. I was hoping that Chris would be able to be on here with me, or him and Candace, but they were both indisposed tonight. Chris is currently watching wrestling, um, so I can't, begrudge him watching wrestling. He loves wrestling. So we'll go ahead and get to Spies Like Us, which is from 1985. It's only PG, Keep in mind, Landis did have some movies that weren't rated R. This does get a 6.4 out of 10. I would probably give it higher because I enjoyed this movie. So you got two government kind of clumsy, bumbling government employees played by Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd. I think that's a great team up. Some people might not think that is a great team up, but I do. And they think they're getting sent on a mission to be U.S. spies, and then they find out they are decoys for nuclear war. And it's just a bunch of madcap, scenes, expertly put together by John Landis. And and I personally love John Landis' style. And there are hallmarks of his style in every movie he makes. And I love the way he's able to mix comedy and horror, like he did with American Werewolf in London. Um, I like his all out, you know, balls to the wall comedies, that pull no punches. Animal House is one. Um, this one, Spies Like Us, and even the Three Amigos that I'm going to be talking about soon. Um, and you may say balls to the wall, but yeah, that's what I mean. That I feel like John Landis takes his comedy very seriously. The Blues Brothers, for instance, that to me is balls to the wall comedy. It's all out war on the senses, war on the funny bone, and something Landis never fails to do in almost every movie he makes is to make you laugh or make you chuckle. Although on something like Twilight Zone the movie, with or without the tainting of the tragedy, I found myself chuckling at certain scenes, and not all of the stories were John Landis's, right? So I can usually pick out, I can take a look at most John Landis movies and know it's a John Landis movie, okay, from the beginning of the film. And Spies Like Us is no exception. It's a madcap, zany comedy. You've got Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd. How could you possibly go wrong with this movie? I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna answer that one next. I- you say if that tragedy didn't happen, we would have been several movies deep into a Twilight Zone movie series. More than likely, X-Ray, because I think that series would have been very, very popular. I mean, the original television series was popular. You also say, who chooses wrestling over discussing forgotten John Landis movies? Well, Chris is a big wrestling fan, but he also loves John Landis as well. So, believe it or not, I've been doing these John Landis streams on Mondays since the beginning of doing these, and Chris has been on some of them, and even Candace has been on one or two. Um, so I think it might have been that something special was going on wrestling tonight. Don't ask me what it is because I haven't a clue. That made it important for him that he watch it, and I can't begrudge anybody, wanting to watch, something that's their favorite. That would be like telling me I couldn't watch Joe Bob some night or something, that I had to, be doing something else, you know. But um, I won't go on and on about these movies, but I just want to impress upon you, if you have not seen it and you want to watch a comedy that you don't have to think a lot about. I don't mean this is a dumb comedy. I just mean that it's a loose, free form sort of comedy. And comedy should not be complicated, folks. I ain't even gonna lie about this. Have you ever watched a comedy film that was just a chore to get through? That's a complicated comedy film to me. And believe me, I have watched some like that. The titles are escaping me at the moment, but I have watched some of them. Um, but I cannot say that John Landis comedies are a chore to get through. They're always fun. They always make me laugh out loud. Um, as I was going through both of these movies again tonight to refresh myself before the stream, I was laughing out loud. I was like, oh, wow, And I want to say that both of these were ones that I watched with my dad. I can guarantee that the Three Amigos was. So I have quite a bit of nostalgia for movies that I watch with my dad. I was always a daddy's girl. So any reason to be able to sit down and watch a movie that my dad loved and be able to share that with him um, was something I'll carry with me forever and ever. And even after, I don't like to talk about it much, but even after my dad is no longer here, he is still here now. Those types of things are things that I will carry in my heart. I've talked about Jaws many, many times. That was me and my dad's movie. But I also watched a lot of comedy films, some of them rated R, but we watched them on TV. So you weren't seeing the nudity, you weren't seeing the sex, you weren't hearing all the swear words and stuff like that. So, I don't want anybody to think that when I was a kid, I was sitting down and watching. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that if you did watch things like that with your parents. But my dad, prior to us getting a VCR and being able to rent the VHSs of all these movies that me and my dad would watch on TV, Dad was like, wow, I didn't know that was in there when we started renting things like National Lampoon's Vacation and, Clark does the whole psycho thing and pulls the shower curtain and Beverly D'Angelo's boobs are kind of fall out there. Um, but back in the day, when all you had was TV, um, it was, it was a more innocent time. You could sit down with your parents and watch stuff and not be embarrassed. Your parents didn't have to be embarrassed because all the parts that would make everybody embarrassed were not there. But you still got to enjoy the movie, right? Jaws, I saw in many different incarnations. I saw it on TV. Then, when we were able to get VHS, me and Dad would watch it. But the best part of Jaws, and I know I'm not talking about Jaws and I'm not talking about Steven Spielberg or anything. We're talking about John Landis tonight. But I just want to impress upon everybody the importance these movies were important to me, but the experience of watching them with my dad, for instance, and the experience of watching a lot of horror movies with my mom was just as important to me and just as special to me as watching some of the other movies that I watch with my dad, like the comedies, for instance. Actually, you say I saw From Beyond way before I should have. Now, I have heard people, say that, they shouldn't have seen things like The Exorcist or whatever when they did, and Steve probably saw I Spit on Your Grave before he should have. I remember just laughing because I just could not believe that Steve's family sat down as a family and watched the original I Spit on Your Grave. Actually, you say, I think my parents took me to see Three Amigos. I remember watching a lot as a kid. Yeah, I think probably a lot of kids were introduced to that movie in one form or another. But I'm going to get to that one in a minute, but I do want to give um, my rating for oops, I want to give my rating for Spies Like Us because I really, really want, I had to watch it kind of quickly to refresh myself, but I definitely want to sit down and watch it in full again. But I am going to give Spies Like Us 4 deadites out of 5. I think this is a worthy Landis film for you to watch if you have not watched it. Um, I just love, like I said, that zany, no nonsense type of comedy, but not so complicated that you can't enjoy it, if that makes any sense at all. Hey, Batman. So we're going to move on to the Three Amigos, which I definitely remember watching with my dad. And this is a movie I remember my dad talking about before I even watched it, you know. So we watched it one day. I think it was on television, and dad was always of the, I think he loved showing us movies that he loved. He loved showing his kids films that he really, really enjoyed. And Three Amigos was no exception. So you have um, you have Steve Martin, you have Chevy Chase, and you have Martin Short playing the Three Amigos. And what the Three Amigos are silent film stars. But this village is being menaced by a really bad dude, and they want someone to come save their little village. And so the Three Amigos don't know that they're headed into real danger. They're going to have to fight guys with real guns. And that's where a lot of the comedy comes from. Um, My Name is Bruce kind of reminds me of the theme that's running through the Three Amigos. I think that Steve Martin, Chevy Chase, Martin Short, I think they are amazing together. Now, I'm not sure how they got on behind the scenes. I haven't heard that they didn't get along, but sometimes you see people and on screen they look like the best of friends, and then you hear that they were fighting, squabbling backstage all the time, or that they outright hated each other. Hey, Pitch Black. I'm just going to call you Pitch Black. I hope you don't mind, just to, because I'll start running. It'll be like a a mess if I try to read that. But that is a cool screen name though. But Pitch Like You Say, I really loved Kentucky Fried Movie. I recently picked it up and forgot how great it was. Three Amigos is awesome as well. Yeah, Kentucky Fried Movie, I did a stream on it a while back, and I had forgotten how much fun Kentucky Fried Movie was. And another one that I had never watched, but watched for these streams, was Schlock, and I enjoyed that. I was like, this is crazy good fun, what this is. But I mean, really, really enjoying going back and watching all these great John Landis films, as many of them as I can get my hands on. Um, and again, I want to remind y'all that Thursday I will be starting my Stanley Kubrick retrospective, Kubrick Among Us. And I thought Stanley Kubrick had more movies than he actually did. But when I was like going through his filmography, I was like, wow, he didn't do as many as I thought he did. Batman, you say, I wonder if they got the plot from Fright Night. I don't know, Batman. That's a good question. That is a good question. Um, but I thought everything about this movie was fun. It reignited my interest in the Three Amigos again. A bunch of memories and nostalgia came flooding back of watching this with my dad. So that was fun as well, and just it just fills my heart with warmth when I'm watching a movie that me and my dad, um, were able to enjoy together. Um, I don't know why this thing did this. I was noticing my face don't look quite as smooth as it usually does. There we go. That's a little better. Y'all might think, whoa, it got weird because Dana's face looked normal and now it looks really smooth. Um, But if you have not seen The Three Amigos, I would highly, highly, highly recommend this one. I mean, I love Steve Martin. I love Chevy Chase. I love Martin Short. So this was a win-win for me, and a win-win to be able to go back and watch it again. Hey, Menelec, dude, I haven't seen you in forever. I hope you've been doing well. Um, we're having some new people come in. We're having some people from my past come in, and this is really cool. It's just a shame I'll be getting off of here in just a little bit because, like I always say, when I don't have someone else on here with me to discuss the movies, I just feel like at some point I'm going to start going round and round and round in circles. Um, but I'll go ahead and um, give Three Amigos my rating. I'm going to bump this one up just slightly above Spies Like Us because it had just a little extra oomph to it, right? So I'm going to give it 5 deadites out of 5. I highly recommend both of these films. If you've never seen either one of these, I urge you to find them, seek them out, preferably in a for free version. You definitely can watch The Three Amigos for free on YouTube. Might have to do a little digging. It took me a little bit to find it, but I was able to find it. Batman, you say, where Peter Vincent played a vampire hunter, and then Charlie, and and he has to deal with Jerry. Yeah, exactly, Batman. And there's, like Fright Nights like that, like I mentioned earlier. My Name is Bruce with Bruce Campbell. Where he's just basically this actor, well, they make him out to be like a second or third rate actor, and he gets asked to come to this town and fight real demons. And he's like I'm an actor, But anyway, I hate to get off of here with just about 30 minutes in, but again, I would just keep retreading the same territory over and over again. And I don't want you guys to have to sit through that. So I want to thank each and every one of you that joined me tonight for the return of Landis Confidential. I hope if you have not seen Spies Like Us or The Three Amigos, or maybe you haven't seen them in a while, that you will either one want to watch them for the first time around, or you will want to refresh yourself and go back and enjoy the zany good fun of Spies Like Us and The Three Amigos. And with that being said, I'm off like a dirty shirt. But before I go, I want to remind everybody, as I always do, good night, Menelec, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. We're moving through the week, folks. And for those of you that are going to Harhound Weekend this weekend, I will see you there on Saturday if you're going to be there Saturday. I'll be there with my press passes, and me and Steve will have our press passes, and we'll see what's shaking at Horror Hound in Cincinnati. You have a wonderful night too, Pitch Black, and I'm out of here for now, but I'll see everybody next time.